What's good? It's Woog. We've got Katie Taylor, 24 wins and 1 loss in her third fight against Amanda Serrano, 47 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. This fight is taking place on a Friday on Netflix, and it's happening at Madison Square Garden. And this is actually a really good fight and fight card altogether. It's an all-women's fight card, and the light welterweight belts are on the line here. These are the belts that Katie Taylor had recently won in her rematch against Chantel Cameron, who's still waiting for that Trilogy fight. Because remember, Chantel Cameron, after Taylor versus Serrano won, Katie Taylor had one more fight against Karen Carabajal, and then she challenged Chantel Cameron up at 140. She lost via majority decision. They ran it back. Katie Taylor won that rematch via majority decision, took those 140-pound titles, and then she defended it successfully in the rematch against Amanda Serrano. And I have to say, those last 2 fights for Katie Taylor, the rematch against Serrano and the rematch against Chantel Cameron, I felt like both fights were impacted greatly by a clash of heads. In the case of Chantel Cameron, I thought that she was actually doing pretty well before the clash of heads, but even before the clash of heads cut Chantel Cameron, there were so many near misses with those clashes of heads. And then in the rematch against Amanda Serrano, I thought Serrano was off to a good start. And then the fight changed almost instantly after Serrano was cut badly by a clash of heads. I thought Katie Taylor immediately was able to start backing Serrano up, started letting her hands go and was just landing more cleanly, as if Serrano really couldn't see as well. And it looked like she was more so on the defensive and again, getting backed up after receiving the cut due to a clash of heads. Look, I'm not saying that anything was intentional. I'm just saying that those cuts due to head clashes impacted both of those recent fights and put Katie Taylor in the driver's seat against Cameron in the rematch and against Serrano in that rematch. But yeah, this Katie Taylor versus Serrano 3 fight card is really good. You've got some of the who's who in women's boxing. You've got Alicia Baumgartner defending her undisputed status at super featherweight 130. You've got Savannah Marshall versus Shadasia Green. Shadasia Green was kind of highly touted until she lost to, I believe, Franchon Cruz-Dezurn. That was like 3 fights ago. So Green's won her last 2. That loss to Cruz-Dezurn remains her only loss. So she's going to be on the card. Again, fighting Savannah Marshall. 122-pound champion Ellie Scottney is going to be on the card. Chantel Cameron is going to be on the fight card. Yeah, this is a pretty exciting list of some of the top women boxers on this fight card. And props to MVP, Jake Paul's Most Valuable Promotions, for putting this one on. Again, this is on Netflix, and a part of Jake Paul's fight legacy is the impact that he's had on women's boxing, period. But this main event, Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 3, look, both of the fights that they've already had were razor close. They each could have gone either way. In that first fight, Serrano had Katie Taylor badly hurt. It almost looked like Katie Taylor was about to face plant in the middle rounds. Katie Taylor obviously dug deep, got back into it in the late rounds. Razor close decision, a split decision that went to Katie Taylor. And then again, in the rematch, it was another close decision, but that one was unanimous for Katie Taylor. Again, I can't mention that rematch. It was a super exciting fight. They were both punching for the entire fight like they were for their first fight, but you can't mention that rematch without talking about that cut. I remember watching that fight and kind of thinking that the fight was ruined at the time of the cut. But in this Trilogy fight, I'm almost leaning towards going with the law of averages. I think it's going to be another super close fight. I'm just thinking Amanda Serrano can't go 0-3 against Katie Taylor. Now, Katie Taylor is kind of thought to be either the GOAT, greatest women's boxer of all time, or the second greatest. It depends on whether you put Katie Taylor or Claressa Shields at number 1. Now, the knock against Claressa Shields is, even though she's become undisputed in multiple divisions, she just doesn't have as big a crop of names to fight against. Like with Katie Taylor, she was able to fight Delphine Persoon, Natasha Jonas, Chantel Cameron, Amanda Serrano. She's got these legacy building opponents, whereas I would say the most meaningful win for Claressa Shields was either against Christina Hammer or Savannah Marshall. Really good opponents, but again, she just doesn't have as many names and as many high profile fights as Katie Taylor has. But I don't knock you if you put Katie Taylor at number 1 or if you put Claressa Shields at number 1. But those are your top 2 right there. Amanda Serrano was, if you look at her fight by fight history, she's won more championships and more divisions than anybody, basically. She's, I think, everywhere from like 122, maybe even 118, all the way up to 135 or 140. She's just kind of run the gamut up and down the divisions, taking a belt here, dropping it, and winning a belt here. That's what Amanda Serrano did for much of her career, but she was unheralded because she just didn't have any high profile fights. Her partnership or association with Jake Paul changed all of that. It's made her a millionaire. But you still don't want to go 0-3 against your arch rival, against the opponent that most fight fans, whether they're knowledgeable or not, are going to associate you with. You don't want to go 0-3. That's like if Joe Frazier went 0-3 against Muhammad Ali. If Marquez went 0-3 or 0-4 against Manny Pacquiao. Amanda Serrano has to get this one back. Now, she's a Hall of Famer regardless, but just legacy-wise, you want to get at least one win in 3 fights against Katie Taylor. And who knows, if she wins in a 3rd fight, they might do a 4th fight. I mean, why not? At this point, I don't think that either one of them has a lot of interest in fighting anybody else at this stage. So hell yeah, I think that if Serrano won in the 3rd fight, that unless somebody retires, it only makes sense to match them up against each other again. But yeah, I'm looking at this Trilogy fight, and Serrano is the bigger puncher between the two, but Katie Taylor just has an in-out style where she's just letting both hands go, basically throwing one 4-punch combination after another. 1, 2, 3, 4, hop out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and she just keeps the volume coming. She's got pretty fast feet, pretty fast hands. Serrano is looking to dig with some powerful punches that knock Katie Taylor back. But I think that over time, Katie Taylor has become a little bit easier to hit. Katie Taylor's defense nowadays doesn't involve so much head movement. It pretty much involves smothering the other person's punch attempts by jumping in. So unless they catch you coming in, you are too close to be caught cleanly, because as you were throwing your 1, 2, 3, you basically got so close that now you're tying up, and then the referee's breaking you up. Rinse and repeat. Again, Serrano wants just enough space to land a short hook, an uppercut, something of high significance. I think that this will be the fight that one of them gets dropped, and I think it's going to be Katie Taylor. I think Amanda Serrano is finally going to get a knockdown, but Amanda Serrano's no spring chicken either, so it's going to be interesting to see if she could come close to matching the volume. Their ages right now, Serrano's 36, Katie Taylor's 39 years old. It's amazing that she's still picking up super high quality wins. I mean, she just beat Chantel Cameron last year and beat Amanda Serrano in November of last year. That is pretty damn impressive for somebody who's pushing 40 years old. So I think that it's gonna look like Amanda Serrano is having more success connecting cleanly with Katie Taylor in this fight. Now, this is another 10-rounder, 2-minute rounds. Very difficult to score, especially if there's not a knockdown and if they're both throwing as many punches as they do. They just scrap, and it's 2-minute scrap, 2-minute scrap, 2-minute scrap. Very tough to score. I think that the outcome of this one is either gonna be a draw, which I'm actually thinking about betting on. I mean, the likelihood here, it's 10 rounds, right? So it's easy to go 5 rounds, 5 rounds, especially as close as their rounds against each other have been across 2 fights. But if it's not a draw, I think that this will be the time where Amanda Serrano finally gets like a majority or split decision win. I think it's either going to be a split draw, majority draw, or a split or majority decision win for Amanda Serrano. I think this is finally going to be the one where she picks up a victory against Katie Taylor. But don't get me wrong, I think that the rounds that we see round over round are going to be very close and, once again, difficult to score. Neither of these women want to be denied, and they're both giving it their all in each of these fights, in each round of each of these fights. It's just that when Katie Taylor lets her hands go, you could see why judges give her some of these rounds. Even if you think that the other person is landing more cleanly, Katie Taylor is just flurrying so much, and she's so in your face, jumping in with these combinations, that it could be difficult not to give her rounds. I just hope we don't get another nasty clash of heads here. None of these women have fought since their second fight against each other, so they've gone right back into the Trilogy fight before. Again, they had a few fights in between their first 2. Like, Amanda Serrano had 5 fights between her first and second fights against Katie Taylor, and Katie Taylor again had 3 fights between her 2 fights against Serrano. 2 of those fights were against Chantel Cameron. So again, close fight, not too dissimilar from the first 2 that we saw other than I think there's a high likelihood that Amanda Serrano at some point drops Katie Taylor, which could still result in a draw if Katie Taylor's winning the slight majority of the other rounds. So I think that it's either going to be something like 5 rounds to 5 with an Amanda Serrano knockdown, or 5 rounds to 5, at least on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards, with no knockdown, resulting in a majority draw. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this one. Again, I'm going either draw or a slight close win for Amanda Serrano this time. Again, she can't go 0-3 against Katie Taylor. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments. Do you expect to see anything drastically different in this third fight? Do you think you're going to see a drop off? Is Katie Taylor finally going to look more her age in this one? Or do you think it's going to be another 10 close and competitive rounds that could go either way on the scorecards? Let me know how you're leaning on this one in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are into the fight talk. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.